Hello everyone. Today we are going to create a contact form, then you're going to style it with CSS. So the first thing we're going to do, right click on your project, select new, choose HTML file. So let's call this lesson 5, or you can use any other name of your choice. I'm using lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5, so that at least there can be a sequence of lessons. So I press enter. So the title for this form, let's call this Contact Us. I press enter. I move to the body. So we are going to create a style sheet that we are going to attach so that you can be able to style our forms. So in this CSS folder, right click it, select new style sheet. So this one I can call this contact form. I can use contact form, I can use that name. Then we attach that style sheet here. So below title I'll say link rel style sheet href. Now that will be css / contact form.css. So I'll go to the body. So I'm going to create one div. So this div I can call it before I do the div, let's start by putting a h1 heading. So let's call this contact us. Then below the hr1 we can do a horizontal rule. So we are going to create a div class called forms. So I'll just type .forms. So if I type .forms, it will create a div class called forms. So I tab and enter. So in these forms, we are going to have the form element. So I'll start with the form action. I can leave the action empty for now. We'll say method post, and then this form will give it a class. So let's call these contact us. So inside this form we'll have a label greater than sign B. So we tab. So this one will be first name. So the label, this input type will be text, name, this one it will be f name, and then placeholder, this one I'll say your first name. Then we validate it with required. So I can collapse that a little bit. So I'll pick my label and my input. So Ctrl C to copy, press enter, Ctrl V to paste. So this will be last name. So that will be text name. This one will be L name. Placeholder. This one will be your last name. I press enter, I paste. So this one it will be email address. Input type is email name. This one I'll use email address. Placeholder, we can call this your email address. Apart from that, we'll have a telephone number. So input type, this one it will be tel for tel number. Name, can call this tel number. Placeholder, I call this your telephone number. Then our last one will be a text area. So this one I'll call these comments. So instead of input here, we are going to use a text area. tab. Name, let's call it comments. Placeholder, so let's add after rows placeholder. You can say your comments. So after the text area, we can have a button, a submit button. So we'll say input type submit, and then we'll give it a name. I can give it submit, and then value. I can call this, let me use submit with a capital S, or even send, or any other name that you want. So if I run this file, because it's a new file, I run it, then you will see that my form is plain. It's just plain, it's just a simple plain HTML form. So now we are going to work on it so that it looks good. So we are going to go to our contact form.css. So we'll start by styling the body. So for the body, let's say the margin 0 and padding 0. Can also set the background color. Background, I can pick red, but I'll pick a light color, or let me use pink. I can use light pink, something like that, so that if I come and refresh my page, it will now clear that spacing. You can see the background color has been set, but the form looks a bit plain. So also let's style our H1. So let's style our H1. So I'll give it a nice font family. I can use sans serif, and then you can give it a color. We can use dark red so that it stands out against this background. And also we can set the padding left. We can set it to 50 pixel. Let's use 50 pixel. So if I come and refresh my page here, my heading H1, now it will appear like that. Let us now style our horizontal rule, our HR. So we give it a border. So we can say 4 pixel solid. I can use dark red, and then we can give it a width. Instead of 100%, we can use 91%. Width 91%. So if I refresh, it will at least be in line with the form, with the heading, because I want everything to be in line. Apart from that, let's now move down. What we are now styling is the form. So we'll start by styling the div itself. So here we'll come and say dot forms. So we'll say dot forms. So we come back to our CSS. We can come and say dot forms like that. So in these forms, we can say width. We can use 100%. So let's have a display flex. We'll display flex, and then we can set, we can use the width 100% display flex, so that now we can have that. So now we'll now have to style now the form itself, because now we have our form. We have our form here. So here we'll come of our form, we give it a class, we call it contact us. So here we move down, we'll say dot contact us, open a curly brace. So let's give it a width of something like 40%. Let's give it a background. We can use a background that stands out against the light pink. Let's use red, but I'll use the pale violet red. Also, we can have the border radius. We can set our border radius to 15 px. Also, we can set the padding. Set the padding for the top, bottom, left and right to something like 20 px. So we come and refresh our page, and you can now see the form has been styled like that. So also for these contact us, we are going to set the margin left, because the form it's padded towards the left. So in this case, the padding is 20 pixel, that is the spacing. So we are now going to move the form itself, so that we can move it away from the margin. So we'll come to form. So we'll come and say margin left 50 px, so that the form can be moved away from the margin. You can still use padding left, it's fine. You can still use padding left. We can still use padding left. It will still, our padding left would work, but to move the form from the edge, we'll have to use the margin left 50 pixel. So that's it. So the next thing that you're going to do now, we are now going to style the items that are inside this form. So we are going to start by styling the label. We'll start by styling the label. So for the label, in this case, we'll come and say, we'll give it a nice font. So we'll say font family. I can use sans serif. I can set the color. Maybe I can use black. I can also set the size, the font size. I can use 18 px. I can also so that's it for the label. So I come and refresh, and you can see our form is getting better. So now let's now style the input elements. We have two inputs of type text, one of type email and one of type tell. So to do that, we'll come here, we'll say input square brackets, we say type is equals to text, and then you say comma, input square brackets type is equals to email, comma, and then you say input square brackets type is equals to tell. So we are going to style those three input types with the following parameters. So we'll give a width of 100%. We'll also give a margin of 8px0, meaning that our left and right margin will be 8px, 0px. Padding, we'll also give a padding of 12px, 20px. So that's 12px left and right, 20px, like that. So also we are going to give a border radius. We can give a border radius of 10 px pixel. and also we can set the box sizing. We can use border box. So if I come and refresh my inputs, now you can see that they appear like that. If you want my inputs to be bordered, we'll just say border. I can say 2px solid black. Looks nice. So you can refresh that. So now we have our bordered input. So you can see we have styled input type text, input type email, input type text with those parameters. Now the next thing we are going to do, we are going to style the text area. Now we have a text area by the name comments. So we'll come and start with our text area. So for the text area, we can set the same parameters on the text area. We can set the same parameters on the text area. So I can add that, I can append that text area there like that, so that now our text area can have the same properties. Our text area can have the same properties. So the next thing you're going to look at is the submit button. So we are going to style the submit button. So to style the submit button, here we'll come and say input square brackets type is equals to submit. So we can give a width of, let's say, 60%. We can also give it a nice background. We can use a background of, we can use the same dark red, and then we can use a text color of, I can use azure, white, or any other bright color. I can set a nice font. I can use sans serif. I can set the size, the font size. I can use 18px, and yeah, so we can style that. We can still set the border radius. We can still set the border radius. Border radius we can use 10px, and also we can set our padding 12px, 20px. We can set the margin, we can say 8px 0, and also we can set the box sizing to border box. So if I refresh now, you can see now my button looks like that. So if you want this button to be centered, we can reduce this width further. Let's reduce to something like 30%, half of that. Yeah, so looks better. So we want this button to be centered. So if you want the button centered, what you do, you are going to place this submit button inside a div. So I'll pick that, we cut, and then we'll say dot buttons. You tab and enter and paste. So in this case, we'll come and say dot buttons. So you open a curly brace. So we'll say display flex align items center, justify content center. So if I come and refresh, now my button is centered in the form. So far we have been able to style our CSS, our form using CSS. So you can see now it now looks better compared to the other one. This button you can make it have a hover effect. So in this case we can say input type is equals to submit, and then you put full colon hover. Open that. So we can give it a background. On hover we can set our background to be something like black, and then we can set our color to maybe white, so that now when we refresh, we come and hover, you can see that it changes, the button changes color. So that is how you style your CSS form. Now there is an empty column here, and this empty column, I want us to have a logo placed on this side and also some contact details of the organization. So how do we do that? Let's go back to our HTML. So immediately below /form, we can create another div. So let's have a class, we call it .logo. So let's now place our logo. I can now expand that, so I can minimize this. So I'll find my logo here. You can even download, if you have any logo you have designed, you can use it. Right click, copy, come here, go to the images, right click, paste. So I can call it logo, that's fine. So in this logo we can say img source. Now that will be images /logo, alt, I can call this logo. So we can give it a width of maybe 300 with a height of 150. So I can refresh. So you can now see that my logo has been placed a bit closer. So I'm going to increase the padding, and also I'm going to center that particular logo. So in this particular case, we'll come here where we have the dot buttons, we can have .logo. So we come and refresh. So it has been flexed vertically. So I'll remove that. So we come and refresh like that. So we can adjust the padding. Maybe you can say .logo. So that logo, we are going to let's set the padding left. Set the padding left to something like 20 px. I come and refresh. So you can see my logo has been moved slightly away. So let's adjust the size of the image. So we can use 3. It was 343, and this one it was 163. So I come and resize, adjust that. So my logo changes size. So let's move down. So after that logo, we can do a HR down. Then below the HR, we have our horizontal rule. So that HR has been flexed, so it is inside. So we have our logo, So below these forms we can have our horizontal rule. So we can, in this logo, maybe we can have our HR. So let's tap that and refresh. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So let's say we can have our H2. So maybe you can say Inceptor ICT Center. We can duplicate this. You remember to duplicate, you press Ctrl D. Just click at the end, press Ctrl D. You can press several times. So I can type here email. You can say info@inceptor.co.ke. I can type here admin. Then you can have a website. www.inceptor.co.ke. I come and refresh this, and you will have those details appearing there. So I can move this image downwards. So in this logo we can say padding top. Let's give it a padding top of like 70 pixel. So we come here, we refresh, and you can see that it has been moved slightly downwards. So this heading H4, so we can space this, or we can change the heading. That is these are H2s. So let's style our H2. So you open a curly brace, so you can say font family sans serif, and then I can say text align center. So if I refresh now, you can see it changes. We can also set the color. We can set a color of our choice like that. So if you refresh now, you can see that changes automatically. So also for these forms, maybe we can increase the width a little bit. For the contactors class, we can increase the width maybe to 60%. Let's see how it behaves. That's still too big. Let's reduce that to 50%. I come and refresh my page here. Yeah, looks a bit better. It looks a bit better, but on your own, you'll try to work on the spacings. You'll try to work on this spacing, and you can try to increase the padding for the logo. So let's set our padding left to something like, we double that to 40 px, refresh. Yeah, so at least we have created a simple contact form. We have managed to style it with HTML and CSS. One last thing to do, I want to place this logo as my site icon or a fav icon. So to do that, I can go to my HTML. Below title, just say link rel. This one, instead of style sheet, we change that to icon, and then href, that will be images /logo.png. So I come and refresh my page, and you can see that our logo changes. So at the end of the day, we have been able to create a beautiful contact form, which on hover, the buttons are hoverable, and also we have used flex so that we can have our form on one column and the logo and the contact details to be on the other columns. Otherwise, thank you very much and see you